As a self-employed person or a business owner, you know that time is precious. There's a limited amount of time that we all have. I mean, we're always searching for where can I get some extra time to do more in my business, or how can I get all this done faster so that maybe I can have a little bit of personal time left over at the end of the day or the end of the week, whatever that may be. So I put together a little list here of easy time-saving tips that you can implement here to help you save time so you don't get bogged down doing hours and hours of bookkeeping, because let's face it, bookkeeping is not the only thing that you have to do in your business. You've actually got to make sales, you got to do customer service, you got to work on different processes. You have so many other aspects of your business that you could possibly be working on or in, where bookkeeping is not just the only thing you have. So we want to speed that process up for you. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First tip would be to connect your bank accounts or credit cards. Now, most people I talk with are already doing this. I'd say probably 98% of the QuickBooks users that I've come across, either looking for training or who actually want to have their bookkeeping done for them, they've already gone ahead and connected their bank accounts and credit cards. So one of the reasons why I'm making this video, I actually did a training call with somebody the other day, and she had not connected her bank account. And I asked her if she needed assistance with that, and I could help walk her through that. And she said, no, I don't really want to do that. I've been using QuickBooks Desktop for years, and I kind of like entering these transactions in manually. And, you know, you can do that. And that's the way I learned QuickBooks Desktop. And it was a time-consuming process to go in and manually add in every single transaction. What date was this transaction? Who did we pay? What was the dollar amount? What category was it? And repeat that for the entire month. Same with all the deposits, every single deposit, the date, what income category was that for. So it could just take up a lot of time. And the other thing, this whole video is supposed to be about time, but other than that, I mean, manual entering transactions, you're probably at a higher risk of making some errors. Those bank feeds are highly accurate, so it's going to be faster, and there's going to be less errors. So if there's fewer errors, you're going to be able to save time by not having to go back and fix errors. If you make any kind of a mistake, you have to first figure out where was the mistake and then go back and fix it. So that whole thing kind of compounds on itself for how much time it could cost you to not connect the bank account. Once you do connect the bank account, you can create rules for certain transactions. So if we take a transaction like buying stuff at Office Depot, if you're going to regularly be buying office supplies at Office Depot, then you can actually set up a rule for that, telling QuickBooks, hey, anytime I'm spending money out of this bank account or this credit card, and the description says Office Depot, take that to the office supplies category. Set that rule. You can even auto add it. So in the future, QuickBooks does all that work for you. They see the description of Office Depot, boom, they automatically take it to the office supplies category. So that can save you a lot of time on its own. There are certain instances when you might not want to add a rule, like let's say something like Amazon, where you make a purchase from Amazon. You could be buying things from different categories at Amazon, theoretically. So maybe you don't want to set a hard rule that Amazon's always office supplies, because maybe you're buying other things. Maybe you're buying like office equipment, office furniture, other supplies for your job, or tools. So there could be a few different categories that you buy off of there. So maybe you don't add rules, but you can actually batch add. Now, what I mean by that, in the banking section, those transactions in your bank account or credit card are typically separated, organized by default according to the date that the transaction occurred. But you can actually go onto that screen and sort them by the vendor name. So in that instance, you can sort by Amazon. And then if you look at those lists of Amazon transactions, if you see, for example, 10 Amazon transactions, and you know that only one of those was for, I bought some tools, and then the other 9 were office supplies, well, you could check the box for those 9, put them all to office supplies, and then go back and manually do the one that was tools. So that'd be a little faster than going in and every single transaction you click on and say, this one's office supplies, this one's office supplies. You can do massive batches of those at a time, so that can save you time. Third tip, keep your business and personal activities separate. So first of all, number one, do not add in your personal bank accounts or credit cards if you don't have any business activity on those. It gets a little bit more hazy if you actually do have business activity. And that's probably for a separate video, but I would say you got to consider how much business activity do you have on the personal card. Because if you only have like one transaction, you can go in and manually add that one business transaction from the personal card, get that added into your QuickBooks. That way you're not having to categorize all your groceries, your utilities, your rent, your mortgage, your car payment, anything that you're spending money on personally. You're not having to do that just by virtue of never adding that personal account onto QuickBooks. Second of all, then once you have the business accounts added, same thing, you don't want to do a bunch of personal transactions out of those where now you're having to go in and categorize transactions. If you just keep all of those personal ones out of the business and you keep all the business ones actually on your business accounts, like the credit card and bank accounts, it's going to be a lot faster. You're not going to have to go at the end of the month and try to remember, hey, did I pay for anything with like my own personal cash? Or did I use my own credit card when I paid that one bill for the business? So you save a bunch of time there. Fourth, be consistent. This is really going to be something over the long haul. When I say be consistent in this manner, I'm speaking more about consistently log in and work within your QuickBooks file. If you only do QuickBooks once a year, you're probably going to forget a lot of things that you had learned the last time you used QuickBooks, and you're going to have to knock that rust off, and you're going to have to try to remember, how did I do this thing? I don't remember. Oh, what was I putting in on this transaction? But if you do it regularly, you do it monthly or weekly, all of a sudden those things kind of become second nature. You think about the stuff that we do every day, brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about, okay, wait a minute, I take the toothpaste, unscrew the cap, and then I squeeze. You just do it without even thinking about it. QuickBooks can become like that, where you're almost on autopilot because you get so used to it. So consistent action, staying in QuickBooks, that can help you learn and speed up how fast you're working on those sessions you are logging in QuickBooks. Recurring transactions would be another one. Now this one's going to be dependent on what subscription level that you have. Like if, for example, you're on QuickBooks Simple Start, you're not going to be able to do recurring transactions. But if you have a client who you're going to be collecting the same amount for every single month, you would have the option to go in and manually create an invoice every single month. Brand new invoice, for example, on the first of the month. You could do that, or you could create a recurring invoice, which basically sets up in QuickBooks. You say, hey, I'm going to invoice this customer every single month, first of the month, and it's going to be this amount, and here's what the line items are going to be, and it will create that invoice, and you can even set it up if you want to automatically send it, or if you want to push the button to send it out when you're actually ready, but just more time savings right there. Finally, next one actually is, not finally, is to invite your accountant. If you're doing all of your bookkeeping, you go through the entire year. At the end of the year, you can share your reports with your accountant, where you can actually export them. You can print them as like a PDF or Excel spreadsheet, and then email those off to your accountant, so they have the reports to actually file your tax return. Instead of doing that, instead of having to go in and pull those transactions, because here's another thing that can happen. If you share those reports with the accountant and then they have a question, now all of a sudden you got to stop doing whatever you're doing, log into QuickBooks, look up the transactions that they're asking about, and try to get them that information. Alternatively, you can just invite your accountant to have access to your QuickBooks. So if you go to the My Accountant tab, you can also see this under My Experts. You can actually just put in your accountant's email address and invite them. And so once that invite's sent and they accept it, now all of a sudden they're going to have the ability to log into your QuickBooks account. They can make whatever edits they need to. They can pull up their own reports. If they have questions about any transactions, they can at least get in and look at it. And if you have supporting documentation, they can try to figure out, okay, this is what my client was trying to do here, instead of just calling you up because it's just one line on your financial report. So that's inviting your accountant. Going to save you some time as we get closer to tax time. And then the final one is going to be outsource. As a business owner, I firmly believe that you should be doing the things that are the most profitable actions for your business. So quite likely, doing your bookkeeping is not the most profitable thing that you could do for your business. bookkeeping is highly important, but just that act of getting all those transactions entered in and organized, that's not going to make you any money. It's the information that you get from the reports. That's what makes you money. It gives you insight into your business where you can make decisions that are money-making type decisions. So because of that, because you're not actually going to get paid or save any money, make any money by doing the bookkeeping, I would say you probably want to learn some fundamentals of QuickBooks and then try to outsource it as soon as you can. Now, this is not just a shameless pitch to say, hey, outsource it to my company, we'll do it for you. You can do it any different way. Besides us, there's plenty of other bookkeepers out there. Your accountant might offer bookkeeping services. You might want to talk with them about it. But you can bring somebody in-house. It's going to cost you a little bit more, but you can at least have that as part of your in-house operation. You've got that person on a part or full-time basis, but they're at your direction. You can do it that way, or you can outsource either to a bookkeeping firm or an accountant. If you outsource that, a lot of times what takes a business owner who's learning QuickBooks, it's just going to take so much more time to actually go through and get everything entered into QuickBooks, get everything wrapped up for the monthly closeout process, monthly, quarterly, annual. And instead, you could be out there doing things to drive new business. And then I always tell people, what if you just had some time back for yourself? You could spend more time with your family, or you could do something that brought you enjoyment instead of logging into QuickBooks and punching in a bunch of numbers, looking up YouTube videos to watch how do I do this in QuickBooks. So I would say outsourcing as soon as you can. That's probably going to be one of the biggest time savers, and it's also going to allow you that, you may have to spend some money on that, but theoretically what you can do with that time is go out and invest that time into something where you're actually going to return more of an investment on that time by making more sales yourself for your business. So anyway, hope this was helpful. If you've got any questions on QuickBooks, bookkeeping, any kind of tax-related stuff, reach out to us, leave a comment on the video. We appreciate you watching this, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.